गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोर्मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो. Ram Ram Ram. Okay. So what do we know about Sanskrit literature? Like, what are the different parts of Sanskrit literature we know?
Kavya, Nataka.
Very good. Yeah, so Kavya and Nataka are the, Kavya and Nataka are the two main categories of literature we have. And of course, under each of them, you have several such differentiation. But particularly under Kavya, you have two major bifurcations. One is Drishya Kavya and one is Shravya Kavya. Drishya Kavya, as the name itself tells, Drishya Kavya is something that you enjoy by seeing, and Shravya Kavya is something that you enjoy by hearing. So any poems, songs that is created, Subhashitas also, they come under Shravya Kavya. Nataka or any such acts, plays, dramas that are created, they all come under Drishya Kavya. So these are the two main classifications of Kavya. But what is Kavya? How do you define Kavya? If you open your pages, Anuvada Pradipas to page number probably 42 or 44 in your books. So today, Kavya, Alankara, Chandas. So this is your huge classification that they have given you in one of the chapters. We have finished Chandas. So let us look into what Kavya is and let us delve into Alankara. So that is what we are going through today. So here, if you open your books, the author writes, Ramaniyartha Pratipadakaha Shabdaha Kavyam. Ramaniyartha. So first of all, where is it taken from? Like, who is the author? They have given it as Rasagangadhara. Rasagangadhara is the name of the Kriti. It is not the author. Rasagangadhara is the Kriti, and it is written by Jagannatha Pandita. So Jagannatha Pandita has written Rasagangadhara, wherein he has mentioned various aspects of Kavya, and mainly he has concentrated in the end sections of Rasagangadhara on Alankara. So what does he define Kavya as? Ramaniya Artha Pratipadakaha Shabdaha Kavyam. Ramaniya, beautiful. Artha Pratipadaka. Now you should know, Kavya has different parts. Similar to how a body has a head, arms and legs, in Kavya also such characteristic structure is given. So Shabda, Artha, Rasa, Bhava, Alankara, Chandas, all these are different aspects that add structure to the Kavya. They have different functions, but as a whole, when they come together in a beautiful way, Ramaniya Artha Pratipadaka. Now he is merely concentrating on the Artha. He's saying that the Artha, that is the in-depth meaning or the gist in the entire Shabda, should have beauty in it. So such a beautiful word is called Kavya. But you should know that whenever you read anything with respect to Kavya, or any, for example, even if you take, for example, Chandas, you have several notable books written about it. What happens is, when Kavis started writing Kavyas, there was no guidelines. For example, Bhasa, Panini is the person who created grammar. So when we studied Sandhi and all those other grammar aspects, we use something called Panini Sutram. So Panini has created rules which, when used, give you the perfect grammatical rule. But there were some Kavis who came before Panini, for example, Bhasa. So if you read some of Bhasa's works, you feel that some of the grammar points are not in coherence with Panini's sutras. That is because he was he was a person who existed before Panini's time. Hence, you have several Apaniniya usages. But people who came after Panini started using whatever Panini gave as the main guideline. Hence, when Kavi started writing Kavya, he wrote whatever he felt was established at that point of time as Kavya. But as Kavis came into, the generations of Kavis started emerging, some of these points were left behind, or some non-existing points were added. Hence, there was a dilemma as to what should be considered Kavya, or if a particular Grantha fits into the aspect of Kavya. That is why several people took it up as their job to write particular Granthas that give you guidelines to write that. For example, Sahitya Darpana is a book that gives you the rules and regulations to write Sahitya. Similarly, here, Rasagangadhara is a book that you have to refer when you are going through Sahitya. Similarly, you have several other books. So you have Chandraloka is one of the books, And that is again, so you have some books specifically written to explain to you what is kavya, what are its parts, how should each part be written, etc. For example, if you take Nataka is a very huge topic, and Natya Shastra by Bharata Muni gives you the exact details of how each and every aspect of Nataka should be taken. For example, starting from the storyline to how the Nayaka's guna should be, to how the Nayaki's guna should be, how the Sutradhara should be, what should be the Katha Vastu. So all these are different aspects, and each aspect on its own is a very huge topic. So you have Natya Shastra for Natakam. Similarly, Rasagangadhara and several others are the books that you will find guidelines and rules for Kavya. So this is one of the examples given. Another explanation about Kavya is given by Bhamaha. Bhamaha is another person who wrote about Alankaras and Kavya, and he states it as Shabdartha Sahitam Kavyam. It's a very generic statement. Shabda Artha Sahitam Kavyam. He is just telling that Kavya should have Shabda, it should have Artha. If it has both of these, it is Kavya. But if you take Rasagangadhara, he tells that it should not just be Shabda and Artha, the Artha should be Ramaniya, it should be beautiful. So as you see, people have different perspectives of the same Kavya. Hence, whenever I explain a particular Alankara, there will be a Lakshana for each Alankara. Like as we saw in Panini Sutras in Sandhi, and the Chandas Lakshana Shloka for each Chandas, every Alankara also has a Lakshana. I will try to give some more Lakshanas from different sources, whichever I found, so that it will give you a better understanding. So with that, let us see today Kavya and Alankara. So what I would suggest you is, the book gives you detailed explanation about Kavya. The explanation is very short. So if you see, the introduction gives you mainly about the different types of Kavyas. For example, he has given the example of Ramayana, Mahabharata, Raghuvamsha, Abhignana Shakuntalam, Madhyama Vyayoga, Harsha Charitam, Swapna Vasavadatam. So all these are the examples given by them. So all they are giving you is, it's a general gist. So when you are going for the exam, all you have to do is go through this, because there's not much explanation given. It's not any in-depth information that needs any summarization or explanation. So if you can read through the entire initial introduction, and if you have any doubts, we can discuss it, or if you need more information, we can go through that. But the main important part of this is Alankara. So the first entire page is giving you information about Kavya and how people have used comparison to bring beauty to their Kavya. I have both the English and the Kannada version, so I will probably read out just one example that they have given in the Kannada book. In the examples they have given, Simha ಎಂಬ ಶಬ್ದವನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. So he has taken one of the examples of how people have brought out beauty. So he is telling that Shivaji Simha. If you take the English variant, Lion Shivaji. So again, what they're telling is, it is just an introduction to Alankara. So they're telling that lion is a totally different concept and Shivaji is a human being. So the comparison is not based on their physical features. It's about the quality that is common in both of them. Both are ferocious, both are brave. Hence, lion and Shivaji are being compared. So this is how they have given 3-4 examples. It is a very basic introduction. They have not given you what is the type of Alankara used or what are the different parts of it. So the introduction, you can read it by yourself, and it will not be a major part that you'll have to need explanation to. Now, coming to Alankara in specific. Now we have discussed what is Kavya. What is Alankara? Can anyone tell any generic? I don't want the Kavya's part of Alankara. What is Alankara?
A figure of speech.
As the name suggests, decoration. Alankara ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳು.
Very
Alankara.
good. So yeah, literal meaning of Alankara is decorate. And of course, as one of you already told, it is figure of speech. So all we are doing is, that is the beauty of Sanskrit. The name itself in most of the cases tells you that what is the purpose of that particular word. Sandhi, joining. So Alankara, beautification. So that's what. Alankara is nothing but beautification of Kavya is called Alankara. And putting it in Sanskrit terms, it is called Kavya Shobha Vardhakaha Alankaraha. Kavyasya Shobha, that is the beauty of Kavya. Vardhakaha, that which enhances the beauty of Kavya, is called Alankara. So already we saw that Kavya is just Shabda Artha Ramaniyam. If you add further beautification, if something further beautifies Kavya, it is called Alankara. Now, there are two different types of Alankaras. One is Shabda Alankara, the second one is Artha Alankara. As the name again itself suggests, Shabda Alankara. If the decoration is by means of Shabda, the sound or the syllables, it is Shabda Alankara. Artha Alankara. If the decoration is by means of the Artha, that is the meaning that is hidden inside that Alankara, then it is called Artha Alankara. So you have very few, according to what I came across, very few Shabda Alankaras, but a large number of Artha Alankaras. You have 2 Shabda Alankaras and the remaining probably 6, 7, 8 of them are Artha Alankaras. So let us get into Shabda Alankara. Again, we will follow the order that is given in your book, grammar book, to follow the various Alankaras. So, Anuprasa, that's the first Alankara. As the name again suggests, Prasa, in Kannada, what does Prasa mean? Rhyming. So, Prasa is nothing but something that rhymes. So, here they are telling Anuprasa, repeated rhyming words is the main characteristic feature of Anuprasa. They have not given a particular particular lakshana for Anuprasa, but Anuprasa is Sarupa Varna Vinyasam Anuprasa Prachakshate. Sarupa, similar in form. Sarupa Varna Vinyasa. Varna again is syllable or akshara or vyanjana. Sarupa Varnam. Varna Vinyasa, the arrangement of varnas or aksharas that is similar in a way that it creates anuprasa, that is rhyming, is called anuprasa iti vichakshate. This is taken from again Bhamaha. Another is.
This is there in the textbook?
No, that's
sorry to interrupt. This is there.
No, this is not there in the textbook. I'm just giving you the lakshana. You don't have to write it also. I'm just giving you so that you gain a little more than what is in the book. Okay. Another example again, Chandraloka is another grantha that is specifically there for Alankaras. And there it is it. Shlokasya ardhe tadardheva varnavrittihi yadi dhruva tadamata matimata sputata anuprasata satam. So, Shlokasya ardhe, that is in the half of the shloka, that is the first line, which can contain two padas. Tat ardheva, that is in each pada. Varnavritti yadi dhruva, Varnavritti, that is a collection of varnas. Dhruva, it is constant. So if you're using a constant set of aksharas in each line or in each pada, then such a type of construction or such a type of beautification is called anuprasa. This is taken from Chandraloka. Now, let us look at an example that is given in your book. Apasaraya ghanasaram kuruharam dura eva kim kamalaihi alamalamali mrinalaihi iti vadati divanisham bala. So here, if you, as you read, you can feel that aksharas that are constantly occurring. Apasaraya ghanasaram kuruharam dura eva kim kamalaihi. So ra. You can feel that coming one after the other. Similarly, in the second line, alamalamali mrinalaihi. So la. This is what is called anuprasa. Anuprasa is nothing but repetitive nature of any particular akshara or a small group of aksharas is called anuprasa. To give you another very well-known example to all of you, you all have studied Ganesha Pancharatnam. In that, Nitanta Kanta Danta Kanti Manta Kanta Katmajam Achintya Rupa Manta Hina Manta Raya Krintaram Hridantare Nirantaram Vasantameva Yoginam Tameka Dantameva Tam Vichintayami Santatam. So here you have ta. In the first, actually, you have inta. So this is anuprasa. So I'm giving you more examples because let us say you want to write a little bit more when you write the exam. So you can use these examples there. Okay? Any doubts in anuprasa? Again, the thing, the way the syllabus is framed, you don't have to worry too much about, except for like a 4 or 5 particular examples where there is Lakshana Shloka. Most of them just give you examples and tell you how it is anuprasa or how it is a particular Alankara. So you have to make use of that information and you can write it in your exam. So
are we expected to write short notes on each of these Alankaras in the exam? Will that appear in the exam?
Yeah, it depends again on the question paper. Some years they ask you for Chandas, some years they ask you for Alankara. So it again depends on that particular year's questioning format. So, but yeah, they can ask you, for example, they usually won't ask you anuprasa because there's not much to write. Except since I've given you another extra example, you can probably use that. But other than that, they usually won't give you anuprasa or any yamaka, which is very short. They'll probably give you upama because there is a lot to write. Rupaka, there is a lot to write. There is a lot of examples that you can state. So they'll probably give such things which have matter that is already given in the book also. Okay. Okay. So now the first Shabdalankara was Anuprasa. The second Shabdalankara is Yamaka. So Yamaka is, so in the first, in Anuprasa, what did we see? A particular akshara or a group of aksharas were repetitive. But in Yamaka, the word itself should be repetitive. So it was not there, it was just the repetition. Here it should be the word itself should repeat multiple times, and that type of beautification is called Yamaka. So again, you don't have the Lakshana Shloka. I'll just read it out from Sahitya Darpanam. Satyarthe Pratagarthayaha Swaravyanjana Samhatehe Kramena Tenaiva Avrittihi Yamakam Vinigadyate. Satyarthe, that is in its original artha. Prithak arthe, in a different artha. So in Sanskrit, you know, the same word when used differently can give you different meaning. Aham can mean dakaranta, trilinga, asmat shabda, prathama vibhakti, ekavachanam, aham avam vayam. Aham can also mean akaranta, pullinga, aha shabda, dvitiya vibhakti, ekavachanam. Aha, that is dina. So similarly, so something similar to this, if the word can retain the same meaning throughout the shloka, or it can have different meanings in different shlokas. When such a thing happens, it is called Yamaka. So Yamaka's main characteristic feature is the particular word should repeat continuously throughout the shloka, either with the same meaning or with any possible different meaning. So if you take the example given in your book, Sharada, Sharadamboja, Vadana, Vadanambuje, Sarvada, Sarvadasmakam, Sannidhim, Sannidhim Kriyat. So Sharada is repeated twice, Vadana is repeated twice, Sarvada is repeated twice, Sannidhi is repeated twice. So this is called Yamaka. So it is not just a letter that should repeat, the word itself should repeat. So in the previous Pravesha book, there was a shloka called, it was a shloka written by, I think, Narayana Bhatt. It was about Vishnu Shatpadi Stotram. So it is a prayer to Vishnu, asking him to forgive our mistakes. In that you have another shloka, Udhrita Naga, Nagabhi Danuja, Danuja Kula Mitra, Mitra Shishi Drishte, Drishte Bhavati, Prabhavati, Na Bhavati, Kim, Bhavati Raskaraha. So Naga Naga, Anuja Anuja, Mitra Mitra, Drishte Drishte, Bhavati Bhavati, Bhavati Bhavati. So there is a continuous repetition. In the same shloka, in the same Vishnu Shatpadiya Stotram, you have Matsyadhibhiravatarehi Avataravata Sada Vasudham Parameshwara Paripalyaha Bhavata Bhavatapa Bhitoham. So this is Yamaka. So you understand the difference between Anuprasa and Yamaka. Anuprasa, the swara or vyanjana or the particular varna should repeat. Yamaka, a particular shabda itself should repeat. The word itself should repeat either in the same meaning or with a different meaning. Okay?
Yeah.
So these are the two Shabdalankaras you have. Next, you go into Arthalankara. As I told you, Arthalankara
Just a minute, I want to write it down. Can
Yeah.
you wait for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
In the meantime, I have another question. So just like Alankaras, will we be expected to write short notes on the different kinds of chandas?
Yeah,
Is it
that's
also
what person, if the exam asks you to write with an example, explain, let us say, Anushtup Chandas. Then you'll have to write. Anushtup is a type of, first you can give a brief introduction to that. Chandas is how the meter of the shloka is determined. It is divided, it is based on the division of each pada into ganas and determining the gana characteristics. Based on that, the chandas is determined. Anushtup is one of those chandas. Anushtup, the Lakshana shloka is, as I told you, Panchamam Lagu Sarvatra Saptamam Dichaturthayoho Guru Shashtam Chapadanam Chaturanam Syadanushtubhi. So this is the Lakshana shloka. The rule for shloka to be Anushtup is as below, and you can give that it should have 8 aksharas in each pada, and the padas should have these particular rules. That is, the 5th letter of all the padas should be Laghu, all those 4 different rules, then you can tell that so once all these conditions are satisfied, Anushtup Chandas is said to be validated. An example for that is, you can give another example of Anushtup Shloka.
The concern is to write all this in Sanskrit. So
No, I don't think it's in Sanskrit. You can actually go through the. Is it mentioned particularly that you have to write it in Sanskrit?
I think in Thuriya everything is in Sanskrit. Am I right? I don't think.
Yes, the first book clearly mentions that everything should be in Sanskrit. But I think the second book, you have some parts that can be written in English.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I'm not sure. It was there when I was referring, it was that. Do you have a Margadarshi Prashna Patrika of some sort? In Tritiya you had. Okay, probably what you can do is, since this is this book is it new this year, or has it come like last year sometime?
It has come last year also.
You have to write everything in Sanskrit. There is no English.
So
English is only for translation.
No English.
Okay, so if that is the case, what you can do is you can take the last year's paper. It will give you a clear view. So the questions will not change. The main questions won't change. So you can go through. If it tells you Matra Bhashya Likata, very good, you can write everything. But if you are writing it if you have to write it in Sanskrit, then you have to learn to write the same explanations in Sanskrit. Yes.
Can we request you to give some notes? Would that be possible?
Since each chandas, if I start writing, it will take me time. What we can do actually is, you can one of you can take each chandas. Like, since we have around 8 to 10 people, each person can take one chandas and one alankara. Like, you can divide, either take one chandas, one alankara, or one chandas, one alankara together, and write your particular answer, and we can discuss the answer after, like, probably, because I think your grammar is very limited. If I complete in the Alankara, you'll just be remaining with just 1 or 2 lessons. So once that is done, we can probably discuss your answers. I can improve your answers by giving my inputs, and you can probably come up with a common answer for that particular chandas. Would that be possible?
Okay. Yes, we can try it. We can share and see how.
Yeah, so what we can do is, so we'll probably, each person can take one chandas, one alankara, or you can take one chandas or one alankara. So based on how the division happens, each one can bring out whatever he has written in one class. At the end of the class, we can discuss what are the grammatical errors and what is the topic error that was not covered or that was missing. I can include that in your answer and correct the grammatical mistakes, and you can take that as a reference to circulate among the other students. So I think that will improve you to write, start writing from scratch about any topic. Because though I may give, we may discuss this, there will be answers in the first book that you'll have to write on your own. So that whatever the notes you get, you'll have to learn to write those Panchashrehi Vakyehi, or that big paragraph answers on your own. So this will probably be a proper way to start.
Okay.
Thank you. Help.
So yeah. So can we go to the any other clarifications required with respect to Anuprasa and Yamaka? Okay. So now, Artha Alankara. Again, as we discussed before, Artha meaning, Alankara. So if the beautification is being done to the meaning that is there in the sentence, and not particularly with respect to the aksharas or the padas it is used, it comes under Artha Alankara. And of course, the most prominent Alankara, again, the figure of speech is what we, if you see Anuprasa and Yamaka, they're called alliteration in English. In English grammar, it's called alliteration. So similarly, if you see, you have very limited English figures of speech. But if you take up Sanskrit, the list goes on, and you'll probably not even have time to cover everything. So coming to Artha Alankara, the most prominent figure of speech in Artha Alankara is called Upama Alankara, which is called simile in English. So I'm sure that most of you would have either heard Upama in Kannada, in school or college or someplace, and of course in Sanskrit in probably your college. So Upama Alankara is simile. So again, if you open your books, the Lakshana Shloka, this is the most significant and popular Lakshana Shloka for Upama Alankara. It's called Upama Yatra Sadrishyam. Upama Yatra Sadrishya Lakshmi Rullasati Dvayoho. Upama. It is Upama. Yatra, where. Sadrishya, that is similarity. Sadrishya is similarity. Lakshmihi. Ullasati Dvayoho. Dvayoho is both. So now, can someone tell me why they have used Lakshmihi? what is Lakshmi with respect to Alankara? So Sadrishtya Lakshmi is nothing but wealth. So it is telling about the significance. So Dvayoho Yatra Sadrishtya Lakshmi Ullasate. Sadrishtya Lakshmi is the common characteristic. Lakshmi does not always mean money. Lakshmi can also mean wealth, or it can also mean the productivity, or the capacity in a particular thing is also called Lakshmi. So here they are comparing the characteristic of the two comparable things. So always in simile, that it is you are comparing one existing high quality object with a new quality that you want to bring into a new person. For example, as we saw in the Udaharana, Shivaji is like a lion. So we already know that lion is brave, lion is fierce. So we are bringing that quality of fierceness or bravery into Shivaji. That is what is called Upama Alankara. Upama yatra sadrishya Lakshmi Ullasati Dvayoho. Ullasati, that is flourishing. Yeah, please.
No, I wanted to ask, what is the meaning of Ullasati?
Yeah, Ullasati is flourish. So it is Upama when both the comparable things have the same Sadrishya Lakshmi, that is, have similarity, flourishing in them. That is Upama Alankara. Okay, so again, Sadharmyam Upama Bhede. Kavya Prakasha is another grantha. Sadharmyam Upama Bhede. Sa Dharma, that is similar Dharma. Upama Bhede. It is called a type of Upama. So this is Lakshana Shloka for Upama Alankara. Now, Upama Alankara is probably the most common Alankara that they'll ask you to explain, because it has a lot of things to write. So I will explain you what are the parts of Upama Alankara. None of the, most of the Alankaras won't have any specific, parts or topics under each of them. But Upama has something called Ghatakaha, that is parts of Upama Alankara. So Upama has 4 Ghatakaha, Chatvari Ghatakaha, Chatvaraha Ghatakaha Santi. Teke Upameyam, Upamanam, Sadharana Dharmaha, Sadrishyavachakaha. I will explain each of them and I'll give you time to write. So now, first you should understand what is Mana. So in Kannada, you have heard the word called Manadanda. What does Manadanda mean? Manadanda means a reference or a threshold. So you are comparing something with a, if you are comparing something with a particular measurement, you use that Manadanda. Manadanda is nothing but the reference for a particular explanation. So here, Upamanam, the word itself tells Upamanam. Manam is nothing but the measurement. So Upamanam is the reference. Yena Sakam Sadrishyam Varnyate, with respect to what you are explaining the similarity, that inherent the part of the Upama Alankara which has that particular quality already is the Upamana. For example, let us start with the same example. Shivaji is like a lion. So what already has bravery and ferocity in it? Lion. So that becomes the threshold or the reference for comparison. Hence, that becomes Upamanam. Upameyam. Varnyam Vastu. The Vastu that you are explaining or beautifying, that becomes Upameyam. Upamanam is Yena Sakam Sadrishyam Varnyate. Yena Sakam Sadrishyam Varnyate. Tat Upamanam. Varnyam Vastu Yet Bhavati. Tat Upameyam. That which is being compared to the Upamana, to the reference, becomes Upameyam. Tayoho madhye upamanasya upameyoho madhye samanyam dharmam vartati khalu. That common similarity, the common characteristic that we are comparing, that tat sadharana dharma iti kathyate. Upamanopameyoho samanah dharma sadharana dharma. Sadrishya vachakah. Krishnah मेघः इव श्यामः. कृष्णः मेघः इव श्यामः. अर्थात कृष्णः श्यामवर्णः अस्ति, परं कथम् अस्ति तत् श्यामवर्णं? मेघसदृशम् अस्ति. So Krishna is black. What is the black being compared to? The black is being compared to that of the clouds. So here you are using iva. Krishnah megha iva shyamah asti. That iva, that is used to compare, that is the conjunction that is used to compare Upamana Upameya, is called sadrishya vachaka. It tells you that it is showing similarity. Iva, yatha, vat. For example, yatha megha shyamah asti, tatha krishna shyamah asti. So yatha, tatha, all of these are upama, that is sadrishya vachaka. They are the conjunctions that are comparing upamana and upameya.
Anna?
Yeah.
Anna, please can you tell again what is Sadharana Dharma?
Yeah. So I'll again tell you all the 4 ghatakas. Upamanam, upameyam, sadharana dharma, sadrishya vachaka. Upamanam, the reference. The reference that already has that character is called upamanam. Upameyam, the object that is being compared to the reference or the upamanam is called upameyam. Sadharana dharma is the common characteristic between upamana and upameya is called sadharana dharma. For example, Krishna megha iva shyamaha. So you're comparing Krishna with the cloud. What is the common thing between them? That they both are dark. So darkness is the sadharana dharma or the common characteristic. Megha is upamanam, Krishna is upameyam, Iva is the sadrishya vachakaha. Okay?
Thank you, Anna.
Okay. Now, if you take up the examples given in the book. Ayam girirajah giririvonnatah. Ayam girirajah girihi iva unnatah. So what are we speaking about? So what is the upamanam here?
Giri is the upamanam. Giri.
Yeah, so the main reference that we have is Giri. Now, what is the characteristic of that mountain that we are, we are giving importance to?
Height.
Aunyatam.
Aunatyam. Very good. Aunatyam, that is the height or the greatness. So what he is telling is, so the upamana as we came to know is Girihi. Sadharana dharma as we came to know is Aunatyam. Iva, Girihi Iva. So Iva is the Sadrishya Vachaka. Now we are comparing the tallness or the height of the mountain to something. And that something is nothing but Gajarajaha, which becomes the Upameyam. So Upameyam is Gajarajaha, Girihi is Upamanam, Iva is the Sadrishya Vachaka, Unnataha or Aunatyam is the Sadharana Dharma. Ayam is nothing but just an extra addition to complete the sentence. Okay? Now, Sudheva Vani. Now again, what is the Upamana, Upameya, Sadharana Dharma and Sadrishya Vachaka?
Upamanam is Sudha.
Very good. Upamanam is Sudha.
Upameyam is Vani.
Very good. Upameyam is Vani. Iva is the Sadrishya Vachaka. Now where is the Sadharana Dharma?
The Sadharana Dharma is missing.
Yes, as it is told there.
Madhurya.
Yeah, Madhuryam. So that is a sweetness that is missing there. So what happens is, when is Sadharana Dharma left out? When you already know what characteristic you are comparing. So whenever you listen to Sudha, that is nectar, you already know that what is the usual characteristic that we are interested about Sudha? Sweetness. So when it is already universally known that a particular object has a well-known or the most important characteristic, Sadharana Dharma can be left out. So in that case, this is one of the cases. Sudheva Vani. We already know Sudha. What is the common correlation to Sudha? Sweetness. So here it's understood that we are comparing the sweetness between nectar and the words or the Vani. So Sudha is the Upamanam, Vani is the Upameyam, Iva is the Sadrishya Vachakaha. Madhuryam, you can, and when you're explaining, for example, this case, you can put it in bracket that Madhuryam Sadharana Dharmaha Tatra Nasti. You can write that and you can tell that Yataha Sudha Sarvada Madhuryena Puritah Bhavati. That is, Sudha is always filled with sweetness. Atra Kavihi Madhuryam Vihaya, that is, he left out Madhurya. Madhuryam Vihaya Kevalam Sudheva Vani iti Vadati. Now,
Kevalam?
Sorry.
Kavi Madhuryam Vihaya Kevalam Sudha.
Sudheva Vani, that exact, whatever is the example. Sudheva Vani iti eva vadati. So he's just telling Sudha is, his speech is like nectar. Okay. Shri Rama Pundari Kakshaha. So here, what is the, this thing? Upamanam.
Pundarikakshaha.
Pundarikakshaha is the Upamanam. Shri Rama is the Upameyam.
Pameya.
So here, if you see, both Sadrishya Vachaka and Sadharana Dharma, both are missing. Correct? So what are we? So here it is more than comparing. So what are we comparing here? We are comparing the eyes of Rama. So it's already known. Whenever we got and Akshaha is already mentioned. So Pundarik Akshaha is mentioned. So we know that we are not comparing Sri Rama to be the lotus. So we are comparing that Rama's eyes are like a person who has lotus eyes. Pundarik Akshaha, a person with lotus eyes. So we are comparing just the eyes of Rama with a person who has lotus eyes. Here we are missing out Sadharana Dharma as well as Sadrishya Vachakaha. Similarly, they have given Dharma Vachaka Luptaha. Again, they have told you Dharma Vachaka, that is Sadharana Dharma and Sadrishya Vachaka, both are missing. And they have given you
This
example.
Luptaha.
Yeah.
Luptaha, what is the form of it? Luptaha.
Luptaha is the ta pratyaya form. Lupyate is the word. Luptaha is the ta pratyaya, that is past tense. So Iva, Vat, Sadrisham, Sama, Samanam, all these are different types of Sadrishya Vachakas that you may come across. So whenever you come across these, you can search for an Alankara. It's not always that whenever you get Sadrishya Vachakas, it's always Upama Alankara. It is a good place to start searching for an Upama Alankara. Now, this is the examples given to you. So they've given you one-line examples. Now, do you know the person who is well known for Upama Alankara?
Kalidasa.
So what is the shloka that defines?
Upama Kalidasa.
Very good. Upama Kalidasasya. So Kalidasasya Upama. That is, it is indirectly telling you that Upama belongs to Kalidasa. Why is it told so? Because if you read any of his kavyas, any of his Mahakavyas or Natakas, he uses Upama very extensively, and hence it is told that Upama belongs to Kalidasa. No one else can use it in such a way. Hence it is called Upama Kalidasasya. So again, whatever these extra points, you can make a note of it and include it in your essays. So I'll take some examples from Kalidasa's Kumarasambhavam and Raghuvamsham, and I'll give you, I'll tell out some shlokas which have these Upama Alankaras. So Kumarasambhavam, as we know, is the story of the birth of Shanmukha until the killing of Tarakasura by Shanmukha. So in that particular, in the beginning of Kumarasambhavam, they explain the role of Parvati and how she is growing. So in that they tell you, Dine Dine Sa Parivardhamana Labdhodaya Chandramasiva Lekha. Labdha Udaya Chandramas Iva Lekha. Chandramasi Iva Lekha. So again, Iva is the Sadrishya Vachaka. So here you can look for a Upama Alankara. So what are we comparing here? So Dine Dine Sa Parivardhamana. So here they're explaining about how Parvati is growing. Labdha Udaya Chandramasi Iva Lekha Labdha. So she obtained the Lekha, that is the glow of Chandrama in her. So here they're using Upama Alankara. Labdhodaya Chandramasiva Lekha. Again, continuing. Puposha Lavanyamayan Visheshani Jyotsnantarani Iva Kalantarani. Jyotsnantarani Iva Kalantarani. So again, she was being nurtured in such a way that Jyotsna, that is the moonlight, Jyotsnantarani Iva Kalantarani. So her body began to get the glow or the moonlight nature in her glow. So this is from Kumarasambhavam. And again, if you read Raghuvamsham, there you have Vaivasva. This is probably the first shloka of Raghuvamsham. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, I think this should be. Vaivasvato manurnama mananiyo manishanam asit mahikshitam adyaha pranavaha chandasam iva. So we already read Chandas. So it is told that the first thing that came out when Chandas was created is Pranava. That is Akshara, Om Akshara is called Pranava. So Pranava is the first thing that was created before the starting of Chandas topic. In the similar way, how Pranava was the incident thing that was the creation of Chandas, Manu, that is Manu Raja, was the first among Mahikshitam, that is among the rulers, he was the first. So in order to bring a correlation about the being the foremost is the Sadharana Dharma here. So in order to bring out the Sadharana Dharma, they're using Pranava to compare Manu. So Manu is the Upameyam, Pranavaha Chandasam Iva. Chandasam Pranavaha is the Upamanam. So always remember, Upamana and Upameya need not always have to be single worded. Actually, if you take the first example, Ayam Gajaraja can be considered as the Upameyam on a whole. Similarly here, Chandasam Pranavaha, Chandassinallina Pranavadante. So that is the Upamanam. Mahikshitam Adhyah Asit. Manu Mahikshitam Adhyah Asit. So Manu was the first among the rulers, similar to the Pranava being the first among the Chandas. So this is the extra examples from Kalidasa. Since Upama belongs to Kalidasa, we have agreed to that. So I just gave you some examples from his Kritis. Okay. So now this is Upama Alankara. Any doubts in Upama Alankara? Okay. So now we have Rupaka Alankara. Now what is Rupaka? Is nothing but metaphor. So in simile you are telling that he is similar to that. So his bravery is similar to the lion. But if you tell that he is a lion, instead of comparing just the bravery, you are comparing the entire person to be the embodiment of that object that you are comparing. So if the Upameya is considered to be the embodiment of Upamana, that becomes Rupaka Alankara. Here there is no similarity. They are telling that they both are the same. So that is called Rupaka Alankara. So again, if you read Rupaka Alankara, Upamanopameyoho abhedaha Rupakam. Upamana Upameyoho. Among Upamana and Upameya, abhedaha, indifference between those two, is called Rupaka. So again, another Lakshana is Tadrupakam abhedaha yaha Upamanopameyoho. Upamanopameyoho abhedaha yat tat Rupakam. So again, Kavya Prakasha gives you probably a different phrased Lakshana for the same Rupaka Alankara. So again, here you have an Upamana, here you have an Upameya, but Sadharana Dharma is not known. Sadharana Dharma is usually not explicitly told. It is understood, and there is no Sadrishya Vachaka. Iva, Vat, Samana, all of them won't be there. So that is how you can differentiate Rupaka Alankara with Upama Alankara. So you have, Bhasa is called Rupaka Samraja Chakravarti. So is it based for this Rupaka Alankara? So Bhasa is known for Rupaka, and that is not Alankara. Rupaka is also the name of another type of Natya. So Nataka, there are 10 different types, and one of them is Rupaka, and Bhasa is known for that Rupaka and not known for this Rupaka Alankara. Rupaka Alankara is different. Okay. So now, if you take the examples given, Vani Tava Sudha Vidvan. Hey Vidvan, Tava Vani Sudha. So here, in the previous example, if you see, Sudha Iva Vani. The Vani is like Sudha. But here, the person is telling, oh scholar, Tava Vani Sudha. Your words or your saying itself is Sudha, nectar. So here, there is no comparison. He's saying that your voice or your words itself are nectar. So that is what is the difference between Rupaka and Upama. Now, Iyam Sakshat Lakshmi. So again, here you have a different type of words that you come across. So Sudha, Eva, if you come across Eva or Sakshat, all of them, you can understand that it is probably Rupaka Alankara. So Iyam, she, Sakshat Lakshmi. She is surely, truly the embodiment of Lakshmi herself. No, so the next this thing shloka is a very good one. Angulyah Pallavanyasan Kusumani Nakhatvishaha Bahulate Vasantashrihi Twamna Pratyakshacharini. So can someone split the sandhis?
Angulyah Pallavani Asan.
Very good.
Kusumani.
Nakhatvisha is one word.
Nakatvisha. Bahu, actually, Bahu, you can make it Bahu U. Late. Vasanta Shrihi. Tvam no Pratyaksha Charini.
Tvam naha. So, bahu, you have to know. There are two hands. So, bahu, bahavaha. That is
Bahu.
dvivachan. It's correct. Because again, late, lata, late, lataha. So, dvivachan.
Lataha.
So, what he's telling is now he's defining the beauty of a lady. So, what he's telling is angulyaha, the fingers, pallavani asan. Pallava is the chiguru anta kariti. So, it is the newly born leaves. So, pallavani asan. So, they are like the budding leaves. Kusumani, nakhatvishaha. The nakhatvishaha kusumani. That is, nakha is their nails. Nakhatvisha is the nails and the skin that is under them. That is like kusumani. So that's as soft as kusuma. That is flower. Bahu, both her hands. Late, that is they're like creepers. So it is either they're as fragile as a creeper or they're as thin as a creeper. So here, once you read the previous shloka or the context, you'll come to know what is the comparison being made on. But if you just read the sentence, you're just understanding that he's not comparing, he's telling that fingers are leaves, the nails are flowers, the arms are creepers. Pratyaksha Charini, Tvam Pratyaksha Charini. So he's telling about a person who is sitting in front of him, that the particular hands, fingers, arms are like these. Okay, any doubts in this?
What is Pratyaksha Charini?
Pratyaksha Charini is one who is sitting in front of you. So Pratyaksha Charini, one who is Pratyakshavagi ಕಾಣುತ್ತಿರುವವಳು.
ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದನ್ನ?
ಬೆರಳುಗಳು ಚಿಗುರಿನಂತೆ, ಬೆರಳುಗಳು ಚಿಗುರು ಅಂತೆ ಬರಲಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆರಳುಗಳು ಚಿಗುರು, ಉಗುರುಗಳು ಹೂವು, ಕೈಗಳು ಲತೆ, ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ ಕಾಣುತ್ತಿರುವ ನೀನು ವಸಂತ ಶ್ರೀ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀನೇ ಕಾಡಿನ ಶ್ರೀ. Okay. One more very common subhashita you already read is Vidyadhanam Sarvadhana Pradhanam. So here Vidyadhanam. So they're not telling Vidyadhanam Iva. They're not telling that Vidya, that is knowledge, is like wealth. They're telling that knowledge is wealth. That is Rupaka Alankara. Vidyadhanam Sarvadhana Pradhanam. Mukha Chandraha. So they're not telling Mukha Chandraha Iva Sundaraha. They're not comparing any particular part of it. They're telling that Mukha itself is like Chandra. The face itself is like the moon. So those are the other examples that you can come across.
Pundarikaksha also will be like this.
That's what it depends. So Sri Rama Pundarikaksha. If you're comparing just the aksha, you're not comparing Rama himself.
Only Pundarikaksha.
Yeah, if you're telling particularly about a whole thing, then you bring in Rupaka. If you're comparing just a part of it, you're telling that the eyes are like a lotus. So you're just comparing the characteristic, that the shape of the eyes. You're not comparing the entire eye or entire Rama. Hence it is Upama Alankara. Okay, so we will next go into Atishayokti. So Atishayokti is nothing but, in Kannada also you have, what does Atishayokti in Kannada mean?
ಉತ್ಪ್ರೇಕ್ಷಿಸುವುದು ಅತಿಶಯೋಕ್ತಿ.
So again, but in Sanskrit you have to remember, Utpreksha is a different type of Alankara and Atishayokti is a different type of Alankara. They have different meanings in Sanskrit, but in the normal way we speak, we use both of them similarly, vice versa in Kannada. But Atishayokti is nothing but exaggeration. When you're exaggerating about something, some characteristic of a particular thing, that is called Atishayokti. Atishaya Ukti. So you are telling something extraordinarily great about a particular common thing. Okay? So if you read the...
Is it hyperbole in English?
Yeah, correct. It's hyperbole. So, Lakshana Shloka for Atishayokti is Lokatikranta Gocharam Vachaha Atishayoktihi. Loka, that is how it is there in the world. Atikranta Gocharam. So, it is, you have some particular object in this world, but what are you doing? Atikranta Gocharam. You're going in, you're defining it in such a way that it is out of this world. Atikranta Gocharam Vachaha. Such a type of usage or such a type of word is called Atishayokti. It is nothing but exaggeration. So there are three different types of three different ways you can use atishayokti. But again,
ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತ ಲಕ್ಷಣನ ಲೋಕ ಅಂತ?
it's there in the book. You want me to read the Sanskrit part or you want the English Kannada explanation?
ಈ ಕನ್ನಡ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಓಕೆ.
ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ
ಇಲ್ಲಿ
ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿರುವ ವಸ್ತುವನ್ನು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ವರ್ಣಿಸಿ ಹೇಳುವ ಮಾತು ಅತಿಶಯೋಕ್ತಿ.
Anna, is it like telling something externally about an object?
Exactly. So what you're telling is you're using a common object in this world. Let us say you're taking about a pen. So you are talking about a pen, but you're speaking about a pen that no one has seen it in that way. So we all know that what does a pen do? It writes, it, you can paint, you can draw, whatever. But the Kavi, when he's using atishayokti, he makes it in such a way that it is no longer a pen, it is something different and it has some amazing characteristics. So that is called atishayokti. So
Okay.
Here he have given examples, like he has given three different ways one can use atishayokti. So one is explicitly giving upameya. So upameya is nothing but what we are comparing, what is the basis of comparison. So the object of interest is upameya, and upamana vachaka gives you, so instead of using upameya, you are trying to use the upamana itself to indicate upameya. So for example, in Rupaka Alankara, if you see Vani Tava Sudha, so here you are comparing Vani with Sudha. But what does Atishayokti do? Instead of telling Vani, it is telling that whatever you're speaking itself is nectar. So that is what Atishayokti, the first type of Atishayokti is called. It is called Rupaka Atishayokti. So again, here it is using Rupaka Alankara's format to create Atishayokti. You're exaggerating, but you're not exaggerating by comparing. You're telling that it is one is similar to the other for sure and in an exaggerated manner. For example, if you see Spurat Kanaka Kantibhihi Navalatабhihi Avelitaha Mam Mama Ashu Haratu Shramanatitamam Shraman Atitamam Tamaladrumaha. So here, if you read, there is if you read the example, if you read the explanation given after the shloka, it's talking about Krishna, Gopika, etc. But if you read through the shloka, nowhere will you find any of the usage of Krishna or any samanarthaka pada of Krishna or Gopikas. So whenever you have to understand the meaning of atishayokti, it is always necessary that you have to read the previous shlokas. Because, for example, I'll give you the literal meaning that is told here. Spuranta Kanaka Kantibhihi, glowing, golden glow. So the something that has a golden glow to it. What are they? Navalatabhihi. Navalata, that is newly born creepers. So he's saying that the newly born creepers have a golden glow. And what are they doing? Avelitaha, that is surrounded. What are they surrounded to? Tamala Druma. Druma is nothing but a tree. Tamala Druma. Tamala has multiple meanings. One means a bamboo. Second one means just the bark of a tree. So here we'll consider it to be some type of a tree. So what they're telling is the new creepers which have the golden glow are encompassing or surrounding the tree. So does it anyway, in any way, give you indication of that it is Rama or Krishna or Gopika? No. But when you read the previous sentence, previous shlokas in that particular kavya, you'll understand that it is a description of Krishna. So when you read it in that way, you'll come to know that here the Tamala Druma, the tree, is nothing but an exaggeration that Krishna itself is the tree. And we know that Krishna is always surrounded by Gopikas who are playing with him or who are dancing to his flute sound. So you have to understand that Krishna is the center, that is the Tamala Druma, and the Gopikas are the Navalatas that are surrounding him. So that is Atishayokti. So here you are not telling that Krishna is Tamala Druma. Krishna Tamala Drumaha, Rupaka Alankara, Krishna Tamala Druma Iva, Upama Alankara, both are missing because there is no Upameyam itself. They're just using the Upamanam to indicate the Upameyam. Similarly, Navalataha, Gopikaha. No, Gopikaha is included in Navalataha. So that is what is the first type of Atishayokti. So if ಉಪಮೇಯವನ್ನು ಹೊರತುಪಡಿಸಿ ಉಪಮಾನದಿಂದಲೇ ಉಪಮೇಯವನ್ನು ಸೂಚಿಸುವುದು, ಅದುವೇ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಉಪಮೇಯವನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಣಿಸುವುದು ರೂಪಕ ಅತಿಶಯೋಕ್ತಿ. So Mam Ashuharatu Shraman. So what he's telling is, so the Krishna in the form of the tree, who is surrounded by gopikas in the form of the new creepers with golden glow, let him Mama Shraman Ashuharatu. Shraman, that is my tiredness or my grief. Ashuharatu, immediately let him take it away. So that is the meaning of the shloka, and that is Rupaka Atishayokti. Any doubts in Rupaka Atishayokti? Okay, so now the second type is you are comparing, as you know, so in most of the Alankaras, you are comparing one object with another. Correct? But in the second type of Atishayokti, what they are telling is, though there exists no relation between those two, so there is no visible for a common man like us, we don't find any relation between the two objects, but still it is told that some type of relation exists and he creates a new relation. So that is the beauty that a kavi has. That is the power that a kavi has. He can create relation between two distant, two non-related things. So that is what is called sambandha atishayokti. You're creating a sambandha and you're exaggerating that sambandha exists, even though in the physical world, in the real world, it does not exist. For example, Saudhagrani, sorry, I think, yeah, Saudhagrani Purasyasya Sprishanti Vidhumandalam. Saudhagrani. What is Saudhagrani? The peak of the Saudha, that is the palace. Saudha is the palace, Agrani is the peak or the tip. Shikharanta Karitivala, that is called Agrani. So Saudhagrani, Aramaneya Shikhara, Purasya, E Nagarada, E Purasya Saudhagrani, Vidhumandalam Sprishanti. So it is as tall as. So here the literal meaning is the tip of the palace is touching the Vidhumandala, that is the sky. Vidhu is nothing but moon. Vidhumandala is the sky. So here we know that there is no relation between the tip of the palace and the sky. But the Kavi is telling that there exists a relation, and that relation is that both of them are so tall.
Yeah.
The next type of the third.
Yeah. One doubt. Vidhu Mandalam is literally is Vidhu is moon, right?
Sorry.
So how Vidhu is moon, right?
Yeah, Vidhu is moon.
So Vidhu Mandalam should be. Will you say sky, or will you say that? Will you give a relation to Vidhu itself?
Vidhu Mandala. Mandala is a collection of Vidhu and other stars. So moon and the other stars is called Vidhu Mandala. Vidhu Mandala usually means the sky.
Usually means sky. Okay, because Vidhu Mandala means the discs of the moon, right? Or the rays of the moon.
No, Vidhu Mandala is usually a collection.
It's a collection.
Yeah.
So it will collection of what in Vidhu? That is what I'm asking.
Here that what
you have to assimilate it is a sky, is it? That is my question.
Usually no. Usually in the sense, in most of the usages, Vidhu Mandala is nothing but sky. So Vidhu Mandala is collection of sky and the stars, and Vidhu Mandala, so the collection of sky and the stars, moon and the stars is nothing but the sky. So Vidhu Mandala, whenever it's used, it's usually used as sky itself. I have not come across any other usage.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So the third type of Atishayokti is, it's called Asambandha Atishayokti. Asambandha Atishayokti. So it is the opposite of Sambandha Atishayokti. So in Sambandha Atishayokti, there was no relation, you create a relation. In Asambandha Atishayokti, there is a relation in the physical world, but the Kavi tries to negate it by telling that there is no such relation. Okay, so now if you see the example, Tvayi Datari Rajendra Swardur, same example. Swardur Manadi Swardum Anna Adriyamahe. So Swardruma. Druma, again I told you, it is tree. Swardruma, that is Swargadinda Bandantaha Mara. Which is a Swargadinda Bandantaha Mara? Kalpavriksha. So here he is comparing, first of all, the comparison is between Rajendra, that is a king, and Swargadruma, that is Kalpavriksha. So what he is telling, Tvayi Datari, if you are giving me, or if you are doing dana to me, Swargadruman na Adriyamahe, we will not approach the Kalpataru or the Kalpavriksha. So though there is a relation that Raja is also donating, Kalpavriksha is also donating, here he is telling that There is no such relation. Kalpavriksha is out of question. You are the person who is donating.
Is there a spelling mistake there? It doesn't say Swargadruma. It says Swadruma.
Swargadruman na adriyamahe.
So is there a spelling mistake in the textbook? It doesn't say Swargadruma.
Swargadruman. It is Swargadruman na adriyamahe. Correct?
Yes, Vadruman is given.
Swardruman. Sorry, I told you Swargadruman. Sorry, yeah, Swardruman. Swardruman and Swargadruman both are the same. So Swardruman is another way of telling Swarga. Swar is also an indication of Swarga. So yeah, Swardruman. Sorry, I was repeating it wrong. Swardruman, correct. So now we will take up last one Alankara for today, and we will take up the remaining later. Yeah, I think this is quite a big one. So yeah. So we will take the last Utpreksha Alankara for today, and we will continue in the next class with the remaining Alankaras. As I told you, Utpreksha and Atishayokti both are different in Sanskrit. And as you can read from the book, what does Utpreksha Alankara mean? So Utpreksha. So we'll first read the Lakshana Shloka. Sambhavana syat Utpreksha vastu hetu phalatmana. So Sambhavana is nothing but assumption. So whatever Utpreksha is nothing related to assumption. So in Alankara, when you read, there are three Alankaras that come very close. One is Upama, one is Utpreksha, and one is Atishayokti. All these three come very close to each other. There is very slight differentiation between each of them, and we will try to see through the examples what is the differentiation. So as I told you, Utpreksha is you're assuming or you're guessing or you're contemplating. So as it is told, Sambhavana syat Utpreksha. Sambhavana, that is possibility, syat. If it is there, then it is Utpreksha. Vastu hetu phala atmana. Vastu hetu, that is the cause. Hetu is the cause. So Vastu hetu phala atmana. So when you're comparing the cause with the effect, and you're assuming that there is a relation, then it is called Utpreksha Alankara. So even though there is certainty about two objects as to whether it is or that, the guess is this must be that. So though you may not feel that there is the two objects, the cause and the effect may not be related, Utpreksha Alankara tries to create a meaning and assumes that a particular relation exists. Again, this is also by three different ways you can define Utpreksha Alankara. One is Swarupa Utpreksha. So Swarupa, the image or the whole nature of the Utpreksha Alankara. So can someone make an attempt to read the Udaharana for Swarupa Utpreksha?
Tanaya Mainaka Gaveshana Lambīkrita Jaladhi Jatara Pravishta Himagiri Bhuja Iva Bhati Bhagirathi.
Very good. So Tanaya Mainaka Gaveshana Lambīkrita Jaladhi Jatara Pravishta Bhuje Himagiri Bhujeva Bhati Bhagirathi. So now Samasa you will probably come across in the future lessons in the first book. For now, I will just try to first create a Samasa so that you get the meaning of this. Okay. Tanaya Mainaka. Tanayaha Mainaka. Tanaya Mainaka. Sun Tanaya. Mainaka is the name of the sun. So Tanayaha Mainaka. The sun Mainaka. Tanaya Mainakasya Gaveshanam. Tanaya Mainakasya Gaveshanam. So the sun Mainaka's search. Gaveshana is going in search of. So Gaveshana is search. So Tanaya Mainaka's search. Tanaya Mainakasya Gaveshanam. Tanaya Mainaka Gaveshane Lambikrita. Tanaya Mainakana Hudukatadalli Chachidantaha. Lambikrita is extend. Like you extend your hand to get the cup. So extend is Chachida. Tanaya Mainakasya Gaveshane Lambikritaha. This is one part. Jaladi Jathara. Jaladhehe Jathara. Jathara is stomach. Jaladhi is Samudra. Jaladehe Jathara. So Jaladhiya Hotteyalli Pravishta. Jaladhehe Jathare Pravishtaha. Jaladhiya andre Samudrada Hotteya Olage Praveshisida. This is one part. Hima Giri Bhuja. Himasya Girihi Himagirihi. Himada Giri. Himada Betta. Himasya Girihi Himagirihi. Tasya Bhuja. Avana Bhuja. So Maganada Tanayana Hudukatadalli Chachida Himagiriya Bhujadante Samudrada Hotteyolage Hodantiruvadu Bhagirathi Gange. So there is a large comparison from the beginning of Gange as the river from Himalaya till the time it reaches into the Samudra. This is the exact replica. But why is the Mainaka coming into picture? Does anyone know? So it is told told that previous
Ramayana.
kind of, but the thing is in our scriptures it is told that previously mountains had wings, so it could fly anywhere and go to different places. So that is why what happened was, they being very huge, whenever they sat down, they used to crush an entire village or some ashrama or some entire city. So that was causing a lot of problems. So all the rishis told that these parvatas are causing destruction and they're destroying our homa kundas also. So they asked Indra to go on a mission to cut off the wings of these mountains. So that is why wherever Indra cut off their wings, the mountains are placed there and they didn't move after that. So that is why you have those ranges of mountains. That is because of Indra cutting off their wings at those places. But when this process was going on, what happened is Mainaka, one of the mountains, it understood about Indra's plan and it went and hid inside the Samudra. And that is what is the Mainaka that surfaces to help Hanuman during Samudrolangana. That is because it is one of the only mountains that had wings to ascend and descend inside water. Now that is why they are telling that since all the mountain ranges are available, but Mainaka is missing. So in order to so again we are talking about Himagiri, that is Himalaya's son. So Himalaya is considered to be the father of all the mountains. So one of his son is Mainaka. So as though Himalaya has asked Gange to extend her hand into the ocean to search for his son Mainaka, Bhagirathi flows from Himalaya to the Samudra. So this is what is. So here Swarupa, you are creating an imagination. So it's a descriptive image that you are creating. Hence it is called Swarupa Utpreksha Alankara. So there is no relation between Bhagirathi, Himalaya, Samudra, Mainaka. So you may feel that it's all disoriented. But once you create such a beautiful line, then you create a beauty called Swarupa Utpreksha. Okay, so this is the first type of Utpreksha Alankara. Next, Hetu Utpreksha. Okay, Hetu Utpreksha is one of them, but yeah. So here Hetu Utpreksha, Hetu is nothing but the cause. So if you are dealing with the cause, the previous one we are creating a different image of the entire situation. But if you are taking the particular cause and creating Utpreksha on that, it is called Hetu Utpreksha. So what they are telling here is, so again we'll read another example. Dvinetra iva vasavaha karayugo vivasvaniva dvitiya iva. I think it is dvitiya, it is alpa prana. So make it, sorry, it is laghu e, make it dirgha e. Dvitiya iva chandramaha shrutavapuhu manobhuriva. So now in Upama, what was the comparison? Some object had a particular type of lakshana. You're using that lakshana to compare it with someone else. But in Utpreksha, what happens is you're changing the entire nature of the Upamana itself. So how many eyes does Indra have? So Indra is called Sahasraksha. He has 1,000 eyes. So that is why whenever you do Homa, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapat, you tell. So Indra actually has 1,000 eyes. But here when you read the sentence, Dvinetra iva Vasavaha. Vasavaha is nothing but any Vasu, but especially whenever you use Vasava, it usually means Indra. Now he's telling that, now they're describing about a Raja here. And they're describing the various characteristics. What they're telling, Dvinetra iva Vasavaha. He is like the two-eyed Indra, but we know that two-eyed Indra does not exist. So the cause, the Upamana itself, that is the cause, has itself been changed to fit the description. That is called Hetu Utpreksha. So Dvinetra iva Vasavaha. Though Indra has 1,000 eyes, he is like the two-eyed Indra. Two-eyed Indra does not exist. We are creating him via Utpreksha. Next, Kara Yugaha Vasavaniva. So Kara, that is hands. Vasavan. So Vasavan is Vivasvan. Sorry, Vivasvaniva. Vivasvan is nothing but Surya. Surya again has different rays. Kara Yugaha. So Kara Yuga is the multi-rayed Indra, but he's telling that this Raja is like the two hands or the two rays of Surya. But Surya has multiple rays. We are changing Surya's characteristic itself. Dvitiya iva Chandrama. There is only one Chandrama, but we are creating a second Chandrama. So again, whatever is the original characteristic of that particular Upamana, we you're changing that to suit the upameya. So that is what is called hetu preksha. Again, Shrutivativa Manobhuriva. Manobhuhu is nothing but Manmatha. Yeah, Manobhuriva is Manmatha. So he is telling that he is like the embodiment of Manmatha. So the comparison is about a Raja, and the Hetu, the cause of the Upamana, you are changing the characteristic to suit the Utpreksha Alankara. Another example is given about Hetu Utpreksha itself. So this was this was Swarupa Utpreksha, because you're creating a new image with respect to the existing image. So it's called Swarupa Utpreksha. Sorry about that. So the Vinetraiva Vasava is Swarupa Utpreksha itself. Hetu Utpreksha is Raktau Tavangri Mrudalau Bhuvi Vikshepanat Dhruvam. Raktau, red. Rakta is blood, but Rakta also means red. Raktau Tava Angri. Angri Angraya. That is feet. So your legs Raktau, red. Mrudulau. So your Mrudulau Angri, your soft legs Raktau are red. Why is it red? Bhuvi Vikshepanat Dhruvam. Dhruvam is surely. So since you kept your leg on the floor or on the ground, your your soft legs became red. So the hetu, the cause is you're exaggerating it. You know that just by keeping your legs on the ground, your legs won't become red. But here the Kavi this is a conversation between a Preyaka and Preyasi. So here the Preyaka is telling to the Preyasi that your legs are very soft, and just by placing them on the ground, surely they're becoming red. So here the hetu, the cause, is being exaggerated. And he's assuming that the only reason that it is becoming red is because of her placing her foot. Now, phalot preksha. So now hetu is the cause, phala is the result. So now we are assuming the result. You're exaggerating about or assuming something about the result. Prashantaha Suryaha Dhruvam Upagataha Snanam Udadhim. So here we know that sun rises in the east, sets in the west. Now he's seeing the result, that is sun setting in the east, to be in this way. Parishrantaha, that is tired. Suryaha, the tired sun. Dhruvam, surely. Upagataha, he went. Where? Snatum Udadhim. Udadhi is nothing but the ocean. Snatum Udadhim Upagataha. So surely the sun, being tired after the entire day's journey, has surely gone into the ocean to bathe. So the cause, the fruit of the entire action, you are trying to assume that it is because of something that you have discussed here. So you know that the setting of the sun has nothing to do with him bathing, but you're creating a relation telling that surely because he's tired, he's going into the ocean to have a bath. So this is Utpreksha Alankara. As I told you, Upama, the characteristic is retained and you're comparing the original characteristic. In Utpreksha, you may create a new type of relation just to compare it to an Upameya. So that is the small slight difference between Utpreksha and Upama Alankara. Any doubts in this?
I have one request.
Yeah.
If you can send the samasa for Tanaya Mainaka Gaveshana Lambikrita.
Yeah, I will send it. Yeah, I'll send it across.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will start with the Shlesha Alankara and the remaining Alankaras in the next class. The main reason why I tried to finish Alankara, Chandas, Sandhi is, in Thuriya, at least specifically in Thuriya, you have so many beautiful lessons, relating to Ramayana, Mahabharata. For example, Damayanti Swayamvara is going on now. So if you go through that, you have all the Sandhis we have discussed coming in that. You have all the Chandas. You can, if you come across a shloka, because after Damayanti Swayamvara, probably you'll start with some other lesson and you'll have a lot of shlokas in that. So you can learn to find Chandas of that particular shloka. And Alankara, even when you're reading Damayanti Swayamvara, in some places, Upama is a very common generic type of Alankara. So you can learn that. So that is why I want to finish grammar soon, so that you can enjoy the beauty. Because without the beauty of the grammar, without knowing the grammar, you can never experience or being mesmerized by the beauty of the particular lesson that you're handling. So please, as and when I finish grammar, try to apply it whenever possible. So as I know, I'm very happy that you could, you are able to divide the sandhi, name the sandhi very good as you can do. So similarly, whenever you come across a poetry, try to apply chandas rules. Try to find out if it's one of the chandas present in your syllabus. If you are interested enough, you can search what is the chandas if it's not available. And these alankaras in poetry, you'll have amazing alankaras. That if you have Kalidasas, actually, to be very frank, in our Pravesha and Thuriya books, we had a lot of Mahakavyas. In Thuriya, especially, we had Raghuvamsham, we had Kumarasambhavam, we had Meghadutam, and we had Madhyama Vyayoga. I'm probably not sure why the change happened, but your lessons are still amazing. But all I'm telling is, we were dealing with more Mahakavyas and more famous works. Probably they want you to know about the modern poets and their works. That is a very good thing to do. But if possible, get your hands dipped in Kalidasa's kritis whenever possible. Any doubts you can ask me. Of course, I don't know everything, but I can at least search and let you know if you want any information about them. Okay. So I think with that we can conclude today's class. Any doubts till for today's Alankaras? Of course, Alankara is a very tedious thing. It's not as direct as Chandas. In Chandas, Lagu Guru, if you apply, Tagana, Yagana, Ragana, if you read the Kanas, you are sure of what the Chandas is. But in Alankara, you'll have to delve a little deeper and explaining it, because if you give me a Alankara, I can probably determine which Alankara it is. But explaining it to you and making you understand in the common language may it be a little difficult. I'll try to do my best with that. Other than that, any possible gaps that you want me to fill in today's lesson? Okay, so if everything is clear, again, did anyone okay, last week's question, I probably I want to ask you if you remember the last week's question and if you tried looking into something.
Kastvam.
Yeah, so Kastvam. So any answers from your end? Okay, so the thing is, this is again from the previous Pravesha book. When I studied Pravesha, this particular topic that I want to tell about is from the previous Pravesha book. As I told you, it is from Ramayana. I had given you that clue, but which type of Ramayana I had not mentioned. So this is from Bhoja's Champu Ramayanam. Champu is a third type of construction, which is a combination of Gadya and Padya. So you have Gadya, Padya, Champu. So Champu is a combination of Gadya and Padya. So Bhoja Raja has rewritten Ramayana in Champu format, and it is in one such scenario that you come across the answer to the question I asked you. So this is a part where Hanuman has been captured by Indrajit, and he is brought into the court of Ravana. And this is a conversation between Hanuman and Ravana. So the name of the lesson, it's an excerpt from Bhoja Raja's Champu Ramayanam. It's called Hanumad Ravana Sambadaha. The question asked, so once he is brought into the court, both of them look at each other, and the initial part of the lesson deals with how Hanuman sees Ravana and how Ravana sees Hanuman. After this long moment of silence, Ravana asks Hanuman, Kastvam. So he asks, who are you? So at that point of time is the answer that I was thinking that you would come across. So I will tell it out. Of course, this was one of the most interesting lines. So I went ahead and by heart read it when I was in Pravesha, and I am happy that I can still remember it. So it goes like this. Ayamaha maharpati kula tilakasya satya sandhasya pitriniyoga vanavasa niratasya Shurpakharati badita Shurpanakha prapya vairupya kupyat khara pramukha nishichara bala palala jala kalpantanala shilimukhasya kapata harina hanana samaya parimushita daranveshana sanjata sugriva sakhyasya samutkanta vali kantakasya durvritta kshatra vamsha vanapavana sarathehe taponidhehe jamadagnyasya bhuja balavalepa lopa hetoho shrimato dasharathehe dutoham Sita marga marganaya dishi dishi tapana tanaya preshitanam vanaranaam ekatamaha samudra langhana janghalaha tava nagara pramadavana simani raghuvara dharmadaran pranamya pratishtasu madiyam agamanam prakashayitum pramathita ashokavanikanoka nivaha tvadarshana kutuhalena kevalam anubhuta nairata lutatantu sandhanaha tava parisaram upasaram. So this is the one-line answer to Kastvam. But my question is, did you ever hear the word Hanuman, Maruti, Anjana, Nandana, any of these synonyms that tell that I am Hanuman? The beauty of this is it never tells you. So Hanuman, that's what Vakchaturyam should come from Hanuman. Nowhere in the entire that paragraphish line did he ever mention his name. So the simple, one conversation from, if you convert this entire huge paragraph like sentence into one sentence, it is aham ramasya dutah. That is the answer. But what he is telling is, who is that Rama? Aham ramasya dutah. But who is that Rama is what he's explaining in the previous huge paragraph, wherein he tells her, ayam aham aharpati kula. Aharpati is nothing but Surya. Aha is Dina, aharpati is Surya. So he starts from there. Ayam Surya Vamsha Kulatilakas Dasharatha's son, who was sent to exile by Dasharatha, who was tortured by Shurpanakha and whose nose was cut by Lakshmana, and who was later pestered by Khara and Dushana, and who finally was killed by Rama, that Rama, and whose wife was kidnapped by you, Ravana, and after which Rama came and befriended Sugriva, which led to the killing of Vali, after which Vanaras were sent in different directions, and in one of those directions, among the various Vanara Pramukhas, I am one of them. He's not saying that I am the Pramukha. Among the Vanara Pramukhas, I am just one of the Vanaras. I am Sri Rama's Duta, who in search of Sita has crossed the ocean, come to Lanka, entered your Lanka, having saluted Sita, who destroyed your most famous garden, Ashokavana, and just with an intention, with just a keenness, with just a curiosity to see who you are, I just experienced this Luta Tantu. Luta Tantu is just the thread. So he's telling that the Brahmastra that is tying me was just a means of thread. But still, just with a curiosity to see you, I accepted to get tied by this thread, and I'm standing in front of you as Rama's Duta. So this is what is the way a Kavi can make a simple answer like Aham Hanuman or Aham Ramasya Bhaktah to be such a beautifully explained. You can entirely know what Mahabharata has happened, Ramayana has happened till this point with just this one sentence. So that is what I was, I had gone through and I felt it to be very interesting. So I brought it to you.
Thank you. And that was a brilliant oration that you had just done, recital.
Yeah. So that's what.
Really mesmerizing it was.
Yeah. That's what. So this was, this was the, the lessons that we had at that point of time. So since you don't have such lessons, I just thought of introducing them through such questions. So yeah, I would like if you can also gain interest in Sanskrit. Okay. So yeah, in actually the thing is in Tritiya class, we have started Subhashitani, and I have asked them to come up with Subhashitanis with humor. So any Subhashita that makes you laugh. Most of the Subhashitas you read are usually serious topics that tell you some serious moral. But I have asked them to search for Subhashitas that cause you, that make you laugh or at least smile. So if possible, you can give me one or two Subhashitas in next class that that are humorous. I would appreciate that if you can put the effort.
चिन्तायाश्च चितायाश्च बिन्दुमात्रं च विशिष्यते चिन्ता दहति निर्जीवं चिता दहति जीविनम्.
Yeah. So yeah, that is good. But I want it to have that humor ting in it. More humorous than this is what is expected. Okay. If you want, you want an example, I can give you. Or do you want to try finding it on your own?
Yeah, you can give.
Okay, I'll give you one example. Just give me a minute. So this is, you'll come across this later. I won't tell you when, but yeah. So this is one of the, in Bala Sanskrita is one of the kriti. So, Khalaha karoti durvrittam. That is, the bad person does the bad deeds. Nunam phalati sadhushu. But the bad effects are borne by the sadhu. That is the good person. So the example he gives is, Dashanana harat Sita. Dashanana kidnapped Sita. Bandhanam cha mahodadehe. But who was caught in the middle of all this? Samudra. Because he was tied. So Bandhanam cha mahodadehe. So even though Ravana kidnapped, instead of punishing Ravana, the first punishment went to the Samudra by binding him with the Setu Bandha. This is just a part of what I want you to do. More humorous than this is what I would like you to tell.
Okay.
Okay. So with that, we can conclude today's class. So please, if any questions you have, you can let me know. Okay. Gururev gatihi gurumev bhaje gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave na guroh paramam shishurasmi guror matirasti gurau mama pahi guru. Ram Ram Ram.